my friends. So here is chapter 17. Here we go. At this moment, the scene inside the Peach itself was one of indescribable chaos. James Henry Trotter was lying bruised and battered on the floor of the room amongst a tangled mass of centipede and earthworm and spider and ladybug and glowworm and old green grasshopper. In the whole history of the world, no travelers had ever had a more terrible journey than these unfortunate creatures. It had started out well, with much laughing and shouting, and for the first few seconds, as the Peach had begun to roll slowly forward, nobody had minded being tumbled about a little bit. And when it went bump, the centipede said, "That was Aunt Sponge." And then bump again, and that was Aunt Spiker. There had been a tremendous burst of cheering all around. But as soon as the Peach rolled out of the garden and began to go down the steep hill, rushing and plunging and bouncing madly downward, then the whole thing became a nightmare. James found himself being flung up against the ceiling, then back to the floor, then sideways against the wall, then up to the ceiling again, then down and back and forth and round, and at the same time all the other creatures were flying through the air in every direction, and so were the chairs and the sofa, not to mention the 42 boots belonging to the centipede. Can you picture this in your mind, my friends? You visualizing it? Everything and all of them were being rattled around like peas inside a giant, enormous rattle that was being shaken by a mad giant baby who refused to stop. To make it worse, something went wrong with the glowworm's lighting system, and the room was in pitchy darkness the whole time. There were screams and yells and curses and cries of pain, and everything kept going round and round and round. And once James made a frantic grab at some thick bars that were sticking out of the wall, only to find that they were the centipede's legs. "Let go, you idiot!" I know, we're not supposed to say those words. I know, don't say them. But if they're in a book, we read them, right? "Let go, you idiot!" shouted the centipede, kicking himself free, and James was promptly flung across the room into the old green grasshopper's lap. Twice he got tangled up in Miss Spider's legs, a horrid business, and toward the end, the poor earthworm, who was cracking himself like a whip every time he flew through the air from one side of the room to the other, he coiled himself around James's body in a panic and refused to unwind. Oh, it was a frantic and terrible trip. But it was all over now, and the room was suddenly very still and very quiet. Everybody was beginning slowly and painfully to disentangle himself from everyone else. "Let's have some light," shouted Centipede. "Yes, please, light. Give us some light," they all said. "I'm trying," answered the poor glowworm. "I'm doing my best. Please be patient." They all waited in silence. Then a faint, greenish light began to glimmer out of the glowworm's tail, and this gradually became stronger and stronger until it was anyway enough to see by. "Some great journey," the centipede said, limping across the room. "I shall never be the same again," murmured the earthworm. "Nor I," the ladybug said. "This has taken years off my life." "But my dear friends," cried this old green grasshopper, trying to be cheerful, "we are there." "Where?" they asked. "Where is there?" I don't know, said the grasshopper, but I'll bet it's somewhere good. We are probably at the bottom of a coal mine, the earthworm said gloomily. We certainly went down, 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 very suddenly at the last moment. I felt it in my stomach. I still feel it. Perhaps we are in the middle of a beautiful country full of song and music, the old green grasshopper said, trying to be cheerful. Or maybe we're near the seashore, said James, with lots of other children down on the sand for me to play with. Pardon me, said the ladybug, turning a trifle pale, but am I wrong in thinking that we seem to be bobbing up and down? Bobbing up and down, they cried. What on earth do you mean? Oh, you must be dizzy from the journey, the old green grasshopper told her. You'll get over it in a minute. Is everybody ready to go upstairs now and take a look? Yes, let's go upstairs. Come on, let's go. Wait a minute, said the centipede. I refuse to show myself out of doors in my bare feet. I have to get my boots on first. Oh, for heaven's sake, let's not go through this again, the earthworm said. Let's all lend the centipede a hand and get it over with, the ladybug said. Come on, everyone. So they did, all except Miss Spider, who set about weaving a long rope ladder that would reach from the floor up to a hole in the ceiling. The grasshopper had wisely suggested that they must not risk going out of the side entrance when they didn't know where they were, but first must go on top of the peach to have a look around safely. So, about half an hour later, when the rope ladder had been finished and hung, and the 42nd boot had been laced neatly on the centipede's 42nd foot, they were all ready to go out. There was mounting excitement and shouts of, "Here we go, the promised land! I can't wait to see it!" The whole company climbed up the ladder one by one and disappeared into a dark, soggy tunnel in the ceiling that went steeply, almost vertically, up. Do you remember vertical? Here we go. Vertical, horizontal, diagonal, diagonal.